Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Tech Your Business podcasts. Today on the podcast, we'll be talking marketing, and with me to talk marketing today is Drew Donaldson. Drew Donaldson is a serial entrepreneur, he's a growth strategist, and he's also the founder of Grow House, which is a marketing strategy firm serving businesses across the US and across the world. So, welcome to the show, Drew.
Thanks, Peter. I appreciate you having me on.
Mhm. Thank you. So, tell us a bit about you and what you do.
My marketing journey really started as a business owner about
Hmm.
15 years ago. I came out of film school knowing a lot about how to produce video cheaply, and this is kind of at the dawn of businesses first getting on YouTube. And so I was running a production company, shooting commercial video for pet boutiques and lawyers and every type of small business you could imagine. And as I was kind of growing as a professional, I wanted to get bigger and bigger work. And anytime I would go after bigger fish, I would consistently get smoked by these larger companies.
Hmm.
And oftentimes the quality of the work wasn't even comparable. I mean, I had won awards for my work. I had people that would chase me down for work. And yet, when I would go up and try to present to these companies or win these companies business, it always fell flat. And they would go up with someone who charged twice as much as I did and delivered a significantly less quality product. And that really frustrated me. And so I thought, the only thing different about the way I'm running my business and the way they're running theirs is marketing. And so I really became obsessed with it. And so as I continued kind of trying to grow the production business, I started integrating that into my conversations with my clients until one day someone said, I had a 2 hour conversation with a client telling him all the ways he could leverage this video in his marketing. And he's like, you should probably charge me for this. And I was like, for what? He's like, well, like teaching me all this. And I was like, oh, I never really thought about just like that as a source of business. I thought I was just doing it as a bonus of like hiring, just like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to tell you how to use this. And that really made me kind of create this mental shift to where I didn't really want to be in production anymore. I didn't want to hold a camera.
Hmm.
I didn't want to show up on set. I didn't want to hire actors or deal with scripts. All I really wanted to do was really crack the code on marketing. And so that started an obsession that lasts to this day. I've read like just about every marketing book you could name. I've read it, and I've done every type of marketing you could possibly imagine. And what it really led me to, where it led me to was I was a corporate marketing consultant for a number of years, and I was just kind of burnt out. And it wasn't burnout because the work was hard or I was overburdened. I was burnt out because I didn't see any of the work I was doing actually having a meaningful impact on people's lives.
Hmm.
And so, with that in mind, I started Grow House specifically to help the people who, one, need marketing the most, and who, two, marketing success or failure means the most, right? Like, it's the difference between being able to pay for your kids' college or not. It's the difference between being able to make rent or not. And even though a lot of people look at businesses like that as like, oh, why would you? There's no money there. They don't have any money to spend. It's like, yes, they might not have money today, but they will if they get the help now, if they get the intervention now to fix some of the marketing errors they're making. There's nothing to stop people from growing to 6, 7, and 8 figure businesses. It's been done millions of times before. So that's really my story in terms of how I kind of fell in love with marketing and how I created Grow House.
Really interesting story. So you talked about these small businesses making marketing errors. So what are some of these common marketing errors they make and they feel are right but fail to deliver results to them?
So I think the biggest thing is that when businesses first start out, they think they have to start with organic marketing first. And this is probably the biggest lie that's been sold to business owners, because what organic marketing doesn't take into account is opportunity cost and time cost. The
Hmm.
amount of time it takes to build a strong presence organically on any social channel or just using SEO or any of that is significant. SEO, for example, you can work at that for years and years and years and years and years and still not reach your goal. Any of these people that say we can get you to the top of Google in 2 weeks, I hate to break it to you, they're stealing your money like they're a scammer, right? Most, even the best SEO companies in the world will tell you it's probably going to take 6 months to a year before you
Hmm.
start seeing results. And that's because all organic strategies are long-term plays. Is it a bad thing to go and put content on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram? No, of course it's not. But it's also not going to make your cash register ring right away. And so instead, what I preach to my clients is that don't waste your time on organic when you're first starting out, because time is the only thing you can't get more of. You will make more money, right? If push comes to shove, you can get a job, right? You can stop doing this, especially if you're just starting out. Do Uber Eats for a couple of weeks to save up money. Do
Yeah.
paid media first. Master paid media, get yourself out there, get the money in the till, and then you can worry about all of the like organic strategies that will not close business. It'll help you optimize your paid strategy so you're not paying as much for those leads and those sales. So that's really I think the biggest mistake people make is just thinking like, "Oh, I'm small, my only option is organic."
Hmm. And I've had this conversation with someone before because a lot of people, even I've been there before. I remember when we were having our pre-call, we talked about it as concerning this podcast. So I've been there before, but we've had this situation where people say, okay, well, I want to do my marketing organically and grow by referrals and all that, and I don't want to do paid. And what I usually say is that, okay, if you're growing by referrals, if you do paid, you have more people referring you compared
Right.
to trying to pick it up little by little. So that what you say really makes sense, although a lot of times we end up forgetting it and doing the and doing the opposite too.
Referral marketing is great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, getting referrals is fantastic. But if you've only ever done, like, if you only serve two clients, what are you going to do? Call each of them every other day and like ask, like, you're soon going to sour that relationship. So like referrals make sense once you've hit a certain number of clients. I used to have business partners that would get on me for not asking for referrals sooner, and I was like, listen,
Hmm.
if I've only worked with someone for a month and they haven't seen results yet, how am I supposed to go and say, like, hey, refer me to your best friend? They don't even know if I'm good yet. So now obviously, part of that is making sure that they deliver results, whatever your business is. And of course, if you're a pet spa, right, and you're there's an immediate turnaround there. You drop your dog off looking one way, it comes out looking a better way, then I mean that's easy to ask for a referral in the moment. But if you have any kind of business that takes any time to develop the product, if you're a roofer or an HVAC guy or anything like that, that's not just an in and out done. It's a very hard thing to ask for a referral right there in the moment. And it's especially hard if you don't have any business to begin with. Like, who's going to refer you if you don't have any clients yet? So you're absolutely right. Paid media gives you a bigger pool to work with. It gives you an influx of people you can serve that you can then ask for referrals. You can build organically off of them. But without those initial people, that's a hard business to run.
Really hard, really hard. So at the beginning, you talked about having better quality of work as a video producer, but having clients pick bigger competitors over you who had even worse subpar results than you did. So you said the difference they found was in their marketing. The difference you found was in their marketing, which led you to focus more on marketing. So, what were those mistakes you were making that these bigger clients were getting right, or bigger companies were getting right?
So two things, and this is actually the first one I'll talk about is a mistake that I think every business owner makes, and this has been talked about ad nauseum in a number of business books. The one that that talks about it the most is I just slipped out of my mind. So if I remember it, I'm gonna scream it out here. But there's essentially, when you start a business, if you're not in the marketing sphere like I am, you're a technician, right? So you
Hmm.
approach all of the challenges in your business as a technician. So
That sounds
say
like
you're
emits.
that's it, emit. That's it. That was the one I was thinking of. Thank you. And the problem is we approach marketing as a technician, and so instead of telling a romantic story and winning the hearts and minds of our customers, we list a bullet point thing of all the things we can do.
Hmm.
How many websites have you gone to that's like for a home service company, and their whole services is just like, we do this. Doesn't tell you why you would need it or when you would need it. They're just assuming like, well, if you need someone to mow your lawn and you see that I mow your lawn, match made in heaven, give me a call. And that's the wrong way to think about marketing your business, because it commoditizes your business, right?
Hmm.
Now you're not providing anything of unique value. You don't have a unique offer, which means your customer can just go and cherry pick by price alone. Oh, well, this guy has lawn mowing on his website. This guy has lawn mowing, but he has a big yellow sticker on it that says only $25 a day. I'm going to go with the $25 guy. You might be
True.
charging 15 for their first mow, and they would never know, because that guy did one little thing different. He had one little element that was different that made him pop. And the only element was that his price, it seemed like a better value. And so that's the biggest thing, is like, instead of approaching this as just a menu, that like at the Cheesecake Factory, where it's just like, here's all the stuff I can do, really thinking about crafting offers that solve unique problems, and then understanding the market you're trying to serve. The second problem that I kept running into was that I tried to be all things to all people. I tried to serve
Hmm.
all these different markets, even though I had experience in one particular market. Like, I didn't see it at the time, but I was a services guy. All the
Hmm.
people that I did work for were all in the services arena. Some were tech services, some were, like informational services or professional services, but they were all service-based businesses where I had a really strong presence. But because I had shot one commercial for Campbell's Soup, I thought I was the CPG guy. CPG is really hard to shoot, really hard, right? I just happened to get lucky and shoot a great commercial for SpaghettiOs once. Like, it was not intentional. It was not, I did not go to school for CPG. And so I'm going out to CPG firms saying, I'm this great CPG shooter. Look at my one commercial, right? It didn't resonate, because they would look at a company that all they focused on was CPG and go, oh, well, why would we
Hmm.
hire this one guy with one good commercial when we could hire this other group that's all they do, right? Like, that's the only thing they do. So that's the other part, is I was trying to grab every fish I could, not realizing that the bait I had was for one particular type of fish. And so
Hmm.
those are the two biggest mistakes, is that I wasn't being romantic about the way I was positioning my services and telling a story and crafting an offer. And I was being greedy in terms of who I can serve, because you can't serve everybody. Like, believe it or
True.
not, even something as universal as a plumber, you don't fix everybody's pipes. There's some situations. Perfect example here. When we were moving in to this house, it's an old house, and so we had to get some repair done. And I called a plumber, and I'm telling him about the problem. He's like, wait, hold on. He's like, this is a house? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't do houses. I was like, you're a
Hmm.
plumber. And he's like, yeah, I'm an agriculture plumber. I fix like manure pits. Like, he's like, this is an industrial guy. He's not gonna come to my house and fix my clog. Like, this is just not a thing, right? He's going out and working on jobs that he's probably getting paid 5 grand for, in like, 30 minutes of work, going and,
Yeah.
fixing some major piece of machinery that's causing, a huge catastrophe on a farm. He has no business in my house. He knew that. He knew exactly what he was. He was not trying to chase guys like me for a $250 repair job, right? He
Wow.
knows who he's serving. So those are the two things I think were the biggest mistakes.
Hmm. Interesting. So for most small businesses don't have a big budget, a big marketing budget. So for most small businesses like that, what one or two marketing strategies would you advise that they focus on first before spreading out?
So if you're really, whether you're service based or like a product based business, TikTok is the best avenue, especially for
Hmm.
organic right now, if you don't have a lot of money. It's a phenomenal ad platform. I am very bullish on TikTok. We're an agency partner at Grow House. So we really believe in the platform and the power of it. And we've seen not only results for ourselves, but results for all of our clients that come through our program.
Wow.
As long as they follow our methodology, leads come in the door. Now, the reason I say, not necessarily for paid if you're on a limited budget, is because TikTok is probably the second most expensive ad platform to run on. Uh, LinkedIn being the obvious front runner, and them being the close second. And that's by design. TikTok doesn't want to get polluted with advertisers like Facebook has. Like if you go on Facebook, it's pretty annoying. Everybody and their mother is running Facebook ads, and it just is, it ruins the experience. And TikTok is very conscious about their user experience. It's why they've been so successful across demographics, is because they really care about how people perceive the app. And so
Yeah.
because of that, they only want professional advertisers who are going to shoot high quality stuff that's going to connect with the audience. That means it's going to cost more, but that doesn't mean you can only have traction on TikTok by going and doing paid ads. TikTok Shop is phenomenal. Just
Hmm.
including a TikTok Shop link, if you're a product based business, is a huge way to boost your organic reach. Your and organic reach is still really good on TikTok. I mean, I post videos that I don't put money behind, and they get 200, 300 views a piece. And I'm doing that
Wow.
daily. That's 200, 300 people I'm reaching every day with my content. That's pretty good. Compare that to Facebook. I post the same content on Facebook. I won't get 4 views, right? So the biggest thing I tell people is that, and whether you're listening to this today or 10 years from now, look at what the upstart social media channels are and participate in those while the organic reach is still there, because there is a trend cycle that all of these channels, all of, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, have, where they start without ads with great organic reach, they introduce ads, and the organic reach peaks, and it's a downhill. And we're already on that for TikTok. Like organic reach
Hmm.
has already peaked, it's already on a downhill. So there's going to be a time where, unless you're an advertiser on TikTok, your growth is going to get stunted. It's just the
Hmm.
natural cause and effect of this business. But I think we're not there yet. I think we probably have at least another 2 years to run before we're going to be, you got to run ads on TikTok to be successful. I don't think we're as close as a lot of other people think we are.
There. Interesting. So, talking about organic reach and all that, when you for small businesses, what metrics are most important for them to track to optimize these their marketing efforts? Because they say what you don't measure can't get you
So
results.
a lot of it is going to be based on where you're actually collecting the measurement. So like for
Hmm.
example, one of the key metrics I look at when I launch video ads on TikTok is CTR. And people often like look at me funny and they go, "Why would you wait, you're doing lead ads, why would you care about CTR?" CTR is the great equalizer. I know my benchmark. So I know that if it's above a certain threshold on CTR, whether you are a life coach or a lawn doctor, it's going to work. And if you haven't hit that benchmark, I know we need to pull that ad from the market and we need to redo it. We fix something, right? Maybe it's too long, maybe it's too short, maybe it's not detailed enough, maybe the video's blurry, whatever. We need to fix it before we go back out into the market. And so, in that capacity, CTR is the only thing I care about, because everything else is going to be different for each person. Your cost per acquisition is going to be different from my cost per acquisition. It's going to be different than a wealth manager's cost per acquisition. But on a different channel, cost per acquisition is super important, right? If you're running pay-per-click ads and you're pushing to the page, cost per acquisition is all I care about, because that's going to tell me if all that money I'm paying on clicks is actually paying off. If my cost per acquisition is $500 and my product costs $500, that is not good. Like that's I might as well just give away the product for free. But in the wrong context, cost per acquisition might not matter at all. Your podcast, for example, I think, did I tell you our podcast strategy on the pre-call? I think
Yeah,
I
you
gave you
did.
a little bit of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you did.
So the only thing I care about there is numbers of views versus cost per views. That's it. Because what's the goal of it? The goal is to reach more people, get more people to follow the show. How do we do that? We put it in front of as many people as possible. So I don't care about your cost per acquisition there. Who cares? It's irrelevant, because I'm not worried about one individual converting on your page. I'm thinking about how can I get in front of as many eyeballs as possible and get the earworm in there so that they come back again and again and again. And so that's the biggest thing, is it's not just a list of like, here's the KPIs you need to check. You need to understand the context in which those KPIs are coming from and the story that that data tells.
Interesting. So, when we were talking about the businesses you focused on, I remember you talked about people saying that, oh, there's no money in those businesses. And you talked about those businesses, if they get it right, being able to
Mhm.
afford these things. So one thing we've noticed is a lot of small businesses stagnate around that 100K per year revenue mark. It's really common. They
Yes.
get there and they don't go beyond that point. So,
Mhm.
in your opinion, what causes this and how can it be overcome?
So it's actually kind of surprising. It's the answer almost inevitably is lack of delegation. When you get to around $100,000 in revenue, you have to take a mental shift from becoming the day-to-day person operating the business to taking a risk and starting to hire people to do key elements for you. And this is it's so very obvious when I meet a business owner who is at that point and has a great business model and great service and phenomenal testimonials, and they're like, I'm stuck at 10K. I cannot make more than 10K a month. Like, I've been trying. It goes up to 11K and then down to 9K, up to 11K. And it's like, the reason is because if I look at your calendar, you are working 60 hours a week serving clients. You are working
Hmm.
60 hours a week doing work that someone else needs to be doing. And for someone only making 100K, like, let's be real here, right? 100K is lower middle class at this point, right? It's not the our dollar is not going nearly as far as it used to. When I was a kid, if you told me I would be making 100K, I'd be like, I'm rich. Like, where's my Bugatti? It was a different world 30 years ago. Today, your dollar is not going very far. And so when I go and tell someone, hey, you should hire this person, this VA, for $1,500 a month or whatever the cost for that particular role is, it's like, oh my God, like, I can't afford that. Like, I'm barely making ends meet at my 10K. But the problem is that you will forever be stuck there and on the treadmill unless you take the risk. I think people forget after a certain point that business is all about taking risk. Like, that's what we're doing. The reason why we own businesses and we don't go to the desk job is because we are less risk adverse than the people that are comfortable sitting at a desk for the rest of their life, right? Working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And we have to reconnect with that. Risk is a good thing. Like, it's what keeps us vibrant as a people. So we have to go, and when we see an opportunity, if we see our business growing and we're hitting that 10 and we're like, I know there's trajectory here. I know there's more people I can help. Take the risk. It can't the only downside to that risk is that for 1 month you make less money. That's it. Because after a month you can change whatever the risk was. If it didn't work out, you can fire that person, fire the VA, but cut down their hours, whatever you need to do. You're only risking 1 month. So
Hmm.
if you can't afford it today, that's okay. Save up a month of extra revenue and then go for it. But you got to take that risk and start delegating to other people in your business, and not your cousin and your nephew and your uncle and all these people that want to do stuff for free and never like actually deliver. Get rid of all of those people from your like, don't see them at Thanksgiving, but they should do not belong in your business. Hire professionals, pay what you can, and delegate as much off of your plate as possible.
Hmm. All right. So, how do you, as a business owner, know when to delegate, and what's a quick way to just start delegating those
It,
things?
if I can record a video within an hour that teaches someone exactly how to do something, and I can condense everything they need to know into that video that takes less than an hour, delegate it. There's
Hmm.
so many little things to our businesses that we do out of habit that are totally useless tasks for us to be doing in the grand scheme of things. They're not revenue focused. Everything you do needs to be revenue focused. So, like, one thing, me coming on this podcast, right? In the old days, I used to reach out to every podcast I wanted to be on myself. And I would send them a link and I would send them my one sheeter and I would do all the stuff that you do to get on a podcast. And I would do all of that
Yeah.
manually. And then when you would email me back and say, hey, I want you to come up, then I would go and set up the schedule. I would go and follow up the emails. I now have a person that just does that. She tells me, hey, you're going to be on Peter's show on Friday. And I go, great. And that is the 5 seconds of work I do besides showing up for the show, is that because I was able to go and sit down with her, and she's a member of my team, and say, this is how I do it, this is how we're successful at getting on these shows, and this is exactly, here's the scripting, here's the tools, here's where I go to get on the shows, and I just taught her how to do that for me. And what's fascinating about solving a problem like that is how scalable it becomes. I started with one person doing that. I now have two people doing that. We're about to
Wow.
sign a couple more clients that just want us for our ability to get them on podcasts. So it's
Wow.
like, it's funny how, like, when you perfect this smaller piece of the puzzle, how often you can look back at it and go, oh, I could just sell that part of it. Like, I could, if I can train a person to solve that one problem, I could break that out from the rest of my service offerings and just have them do that. Right? Think about it like from a plumber's perspective, right? Like, take marketing out of the equation. What if a plumber or an electrician sold a $10 a month subscription where you could text them if you needed help with your electrical or your plumbing, right? And they would text you back advice on what to do. My drain's clogged. I don't know. Should I use a Drano or should I get a snake at Home Depot? You
Mhm.
could train a chatbot to answer questions and collect $9 a month from every person you sold that to, right?
Wow.
Now, there's a whole nother issue about like whether it's going to give them the right answers and the training, but you could also just hire a VA to sit there all day long and answer people's questions about how to declog their sinks. And you charge a minimum amount of money, and you could easily make six figures just on that business alone, right? Charging $10, $20 a month for that service to be able to be, have a home service professional in your pocket whenever you need it. So it's like the ability to delegate goes so far beyond just cleaning stuff off your calendar or taking tasks off your desk. It really opens you up to the ability to scale your business in new and unique ways.
Hmm. Interesting. There's a lot to pick from what you just said for a lot of small business owners. A lot of lessons to learn from there. Yeah.
You know, I think the thing is that people are really scared to delegate because they get too close to their business and it becomes their baby and
True.
they do it right and they're worried people won't do it wrong. And it's just like there's a financial risk, but there's also just a trust risk. You have to put your
Hmm.
trust in somebody in order to take that next step, right? Like, the thing I always tell people when they're kind of waffling on this is, if your house was on fire, like, because they always, the question always is, well, I don't know this how do I know if this person's going to take care of me? How do I know if they're going to take care of my customers the same way, X, Y, and Z? Okay, your house is on fire, fireman comes up the ladder to save you. Are you going to look at him and be like, I don't know you, like, I don't know if I can trust you, I don't know if I should come down this ladder with you? No, you're going to get on the ladder and get down. Like, that's how you have to approach your business. Someone's coming in, you have to assume they have the best intentions for you, and then let them prove you wrong. Let them go and do something that you go, you know what? That's not how we do it. This is how we do it. And if they keep doing it, then you got to get rid of them. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, if you can't take the risk, you'll never grow.
Hmm. Like they say, no risk, no reward at the end of the day.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. So while I was doing research for this, I read that you offer fractional CMO services to businesses, and
Yep.
I know this fractional thing might be it's sort of like delegation, but delegating to an expert. That this person is already an expert in this field. So, at what do you think is the right time for small businesses to expand their marketing using these fractional executive services?
So I think, first off, you have to be able to afford it, right? Like,
Hmm.
I am not the cheapest guy out there, right? Like, I'm not the Walmart marketing consultant. So, like, there's people out there that are at all different price points. Um, take Alex Hermosi, for example, right? He's been in the news a lot lately because he just released his new $100 million leads, which is fantastic. I'm a big Alex Hermosi fan, so fellow beard brother. So go get his stuff. But um, he is very upfront about who he works for. If you're not making at least, I think it's like 3 or 5 million a year, he's not interested in talking to you. You can't get his
Hmm.
help unless you've crossed that threshold. Then he's willing to talk to you, but until then, he's not interested. So there's going to be plenty of businesses that don't get to work with Alex Hermosi, but that's okay, because there's plenty of other people out there that know their stuff that you can bring into your business. I think the biggest thing that when I have a client that says, I'm nervous about hiring you, I'm nervous about the expense, what I always say is, in the next 30 to 60 days, if I can put more business in your pocket, right? If I can put more leads on your calendar, if I can make it so that the cash register rings more, isn't it worth the risk of paying me for 2 months of work seeing that all of the experience, all the testimonials, everything, I assume all of that stuff is correct. Wouldn't it be worth that risk to just hire someone for that amount of time? And that's where you really see whether they can afford it or not. And so
Hmm.
I try my best to price my services so that, you know, the people that can afford fractional, they can get me for as a fractional CMO, as a consultant, for a reasonable price. I'm not charging 30 grand an hour or anything crazy, but I'm also not, you know, bargain basement, like I said. On the other side, I do group coaching. So it's like, listen, you got $100 a month, come and join our group coaching program. Like, it's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap. I don't make any money on it. Like, by the time my ad costs and everything, it's essentially just like a break even.
Yeah.
But it's awesome because I grow people from that. People start at 99, they come to the group sessions, they start seeing progress, and in 6 months they come to me and say, "All right, I'm ready to move into the big boy engagement, right? I'm ready to
Hmm.
take this to the next level. I need more help." And so what we always try to do is make sure that no matter where you are in that journey, that we have some way that we can help you. And while we can't help everybody, I try to make it so I can help the maximum amount of people possible, and still not undervalue the what I'm actually bringing into business.
Interesting. All right. So for the past few months, AI has been the buzzword. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's starting AI businesses. Everybody's making AI videos and everything. So, what are your thoughts on this, on AI and marketing, business marketing?
It's a great tool, but it's not human. Like, for certain applications, AI is phenomenal, right? When it comes to summarizing stuff, for when it comes to writing text for content posts, when it comes to developing, you know, just kind of like ready-made blog articles, it's a great tool. But when it comes to writing advertising stuff that has to work on human psychology, that has to sell without you physically being there and standing in front of the person selling, it's abysmal. And the reason it's abysmal is because it doesn't understand human emotion, behavior, psychology to the level that a human writer can, or a human producer, a human ad creative can. And so I think while all these tools are like, they're amazing, like you're never going to get me to say AI did not has not blown me away several times. Like, I just had a client who in the event business, and he's like, "I got to show you this radio ad I just cut with AI," and he showed it to me, and I was like, "That is unbelievable." Like, I
Wow.
am absolutely floored. But you know what? It's an ad for an event. It kind of sells itself, right? Games for the kids, monster trucks, like a wrestling, like whatever. Like, you just, it's not the kind of thing that you really need to make a compelling case for. You really just need to highlight the great things that are going down. Uh, Podcast, there's a great tool called Cast Magic, and you can load your podcast in, and it'll summarize the podcast and create different clips and different posts and all this stuff. It's awesome for that. It's a fantastic tool. But if I go and tell ChatGPT to go write me a compelling ad that is gonna, you know, drive appointments onto my calendar, it's not gonna work because it doesn't
Hmm.
understand us enough. It understands us to a mechanical extent, but it doesn't understand us as humans in terms of the behaviors we exhibit, the psychology of how words impact us. It really just understands how to put words together to make coherent sentences that sound human. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm a copywriter by trade. I've never once seen AI do a better job than a human writer, unless that human writer was not a good writer to begin with. Like, if you just started doing copywriting yesterday, yeah, AI is going to crush you. But if you're like me, who's been doing it for years and has written hundreds of ads, AI can't hold a torch. It just can't. It will one day, I'm sure, when we as we approach the singularity. You know, eventually I'll probably be eating my words, but right now it's a really awesome tool. It's a great way to get out of writer's block. It's fantastic for little stuff, like follow-up sequences. It does a pretty darn good job with follow-up email sequences, I will say.
Hmm.
Like, if not verbatim, it gets you the template. It gets you where you kind of need to go. So yeah, it's good. It's just not going to fully replace the human marketing element.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. So, still talking about technology, what's you just mentioned Cast Magic. So, what's some other technology you use in managing your business, managing your clients that you find really helpful and interesting?
So we're Go High Level Agency. So we actually, when we first adopted Go High Level, I was a HubSpot partner for years, and
Hmm.
the first time I heard about High Level, I kind of pashawed it. I thought it was just kind of one of these like fly by night SaaS products that had really no value. It was just kind of a money grab. And so I saw the ads. I saw the 26-year-olds being like, "You can sell this to home service companies." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, cute, very nice. I'll go back to my real tools." And then I was talking to another marketer, and she was saying, "Have you looked at High Level?" And I was like, "You mean that thing all those 22-year-old?" Like, no, of course not. Like, that's silly. Why would I do that? And she's like, "You should probably look at it." And I was like, "What are you talking?" And she's like, "It's really good. Like, it's really, really good." And so I was like, all right. So I went, I sat through their demo, I downloaded it. Within 2 seconds, I was able to create automations that HubSpot was completely unable to do and had told me they were unable to do, and things that I like desperately needed inside of my business that
Wow.
I within 2 minutes of being opening the software, I had them built. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I started doing the feature comparison and I started doing the cost comparison. And as of this year, we ended our relationship with HubSpot because why on earth would I pay HubSpot 3 grand a month for software that is inferior to High Level in every way? There is nothing HubSpot does that Go High Level can't do better, faster, cleaner, more efficiently. Every
Wow.
single thing about it. The other part is that I pay for an agency license. I pay $500 a month for an agency license. I give that software away for free to every single client that signs up with us. Free, unlimited, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not in the SaaS business. I give it to them because it simplifies my job. I have to learn one CRM now, not 10, right? I don't have
Hmm.
to learn Marketo and Eloqua. And I know all those because I've worked with all of them, but I don't need to anymore. I don't need to keep up with them. All I need to do is build a great platform in HubSpot or in a Go High Level. And then the best part about High Level is I can share it. I can take everything I build for myself and I can give it to you as a client. So you come in
Hmm.
and you say, "Hey, I'm running a plumbing business. I need an appointment setting sequence." No problem. Here it is. I just give it to you. And you can go in and edit it and make it sound like you and all that stuff. But the fact that I can do that, I mean, I would go and do onboarding calls that would last days and days with frustrated clients trying to get HubSpot working. I can get High Level up and running in a day. Like, it's
Wow.
just not even a fair comparison anymore. They are the absolute industry leader in this space. Now, the one problem with it is their white label program. The fact that people can go and brand it as their own thing, I think, is a mistake on their part, because I think that is why people don't trust it, because they have a bunch of operators out there who are providing poor customer service.
Hmm.
And I've had clients tell me, "Oh, I don't like Go High Level. It doesn't work." And I go, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, there's nothing in it. Like, all it is like a contact list." And I go and look, and it's like, yeah, this person sold them a $99 package that just included the contact list. And then they tried to upsell them on everything else. And so I think that's the one downside to Go High Level, is that if it was up to me, I would say kill the affiliate program altogether, work with agency partners like myself, raise the price. Like, if that's what it
Hmm.
takes to kill off these other businesses, then do it, because it gives High Level a bad name and they don't deserve it, because it is the best marketing software on the planet right now, hands down.
Wow. I've got this go high level a lot of times as an answer to this question, and that says a
Yeah.
lot to, to what they are
Yeah. I
doing.
mean, I use a lot of tools, and that's the one I always go to first because it's the one I'm in most. There's a
Hmm.
bunch of cool stuff out there. I mean, there's Be Human creates AI powered videos, and Toonie is a new one I just got that does AI generated music. It's really cool, but like, I'm not in there every day. Like, I'm not in Cast Magic every day. I'm not in Magic Book of Fire every day. Like, there's tons of cool tools, but the one I'm in every day is definitely High Level.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. So, looking back on your career, looking back on how you started Grow House and everything, if you were to meet your younger self, just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell your younger self?
That the most important thing for me to learn was copywriting.
Hmm.
That's when everything changed. When I became a very good copywriter, that changes the game. Like it's to the point where most of the books that I could recommend to you are all going to have some kind of copywriting bent, because it really is the one skill that can take you from absolute obscurity to being a king of the hill, like
Hmm.
100%. The ability to craft offers, the ability to write compelling copy, the ability to understand the audience behavior and motivation and pain, uh, it's just huge. And the only skill that you can learn that will give you all of that is copywriting. So that's I think the biggest thing. I think the second thing would probably go back to delegating. Is like you gotta delegate sooner. I waited far too long to start delegating and hiring people, and I waited until I was in a crisis to hire. And then once I hired my first person, I was just like, oh, that's so nice. Like I immediately was like, I called her up. Her name's Lady. She's still with me today. And I called her and I said, do you have any friends? Like, how many friends of yours can I hire? Like, and we did. We hired, I think, two or three of her friends. And
Wow.
she just it's one of those things that when you get the right person in the job, it relieves so much stress. And even though you have the additional stress of like, hey, not this is another mouth to feed, it just makes your life so much easier. It opens the door to so many possibilities that I could never fathom because I was too tied down in the day-to-day nonsense.
Hmm. All right. So, is there anything you'd like to share with our listeners? Probably we've talked for about 40 minutes or thereabouts, and we can talk for 24 hours and still not run out of what to say.
I'm sure.
Yes. Yes. So, is there anything you'd like to share with our listeners? Maybe something I've not covered, but I feel it's really important for them, business owners, to know about?
I think the thing that I have seen the biggest mistakes being made when doing advertising in any capacity is trying to act bigger than you are. It's a huge turnoff to audiences. Authenticity sells. That's why TikTok videos have a certain look. That's why TikTok videos that look professional don't do well. That's why you see guys that have $100,000 camera setups shooting on their iPhone, because authenticity is what sells. People are tired of mass media, mass market, high production value. The ad I run right now, I didn't even cut off the end of it where I go and press the stop button on the recording. It's one take. There's no edits. The only thing that's on it is some subtitles. Actually, no, there's not even subtitles on my video. Like,
Wow.
producing a piece of content that is heartfelt and hopeful and empathizes with your audience and is authentic is the most powerful piece of content you could possibly put out there. And I think too many people have gotten in their mind that social media, participating in social media, is putting on a show. Right? I have to follow what Jimmy Kimmel does, or David
Hmm.
Letterman, or Conan O'Brien. Like, I have to be the showman. And it's like, look at some of these creators that just say, hey, I'm a mom, I invented this thing, it's kind of cool, can you buy it please? And they go uber viral. They sell, a million of them in like 24 hours. Why? Because it's real. It's a real person. And that's what we're missing in society, is that real human connection. And so if you're putting out content, if you're putting out advertisements that read as authentic, that read as a real human talking to a real human, you are going to crush it in no matter what business you're in. The other thing is, be funny. Humor goes so far. Like, it really, kindness goes far, humor goes far as well. Like, I would say those are
Wow.
equal. Be kind, be authentic, be funny.
Hmm. Interesting. Really, really interesting takes. So, how can users reach you? Because obviously, you have so much to share and so much experience and things to share with us. So, how can users reach you if they want to learn from you, if they want to connect with you, if they want to work with you, or anything
So
else?
we're Grow House on just about every platform. GROHAUS. We are our website's growhouse grohaus.org, and you can book a free coaching call with me there. You can ask about our different programs that we have. We have a new course coming out right now that we're getting ready to launch. So, if there's anyone out there that's interested in beta testing that before we go public with it, feel free to reach out. I think the biggest group of business owners I can help are going to be service-based business owners that are stuck at that plateau you were talking about earlier, 10 to 20K.
Mm,
If that's
yeah.
where you are, that's where we help. It doesn't mean those are the only people we help, but that's really the threshold. If you're just starting out, we can help you too. It's just a little bit of a different service model. So I would say no matter where you are on your entrepreneurial journey, like, it doesn't hurt to reach out. It doesn't hurt to book some time on my calendar. The worst thing I can do is tell you, you know what, you're just not ready for this yet. I'll give you a bunch of good advice and send you on your way. Like, that's all. Like, I'm not a hard sales guy. Like, I have enough clients. I don't need, like, I'm not trying to recruit 10,000 clients before the end of the month or
Yeah.
anything crazy. I take all the sales calls myself for the most part. So book a call.
All right. So the link to your website will be in the show notes, and also the link to book the call too. So for any listeners, if you want to reach out to Drew, or you want to work with them, or you want anything, just follow those links and reach out. All right. So thank you so much for coming on the Tech Your Business show. And for the listeners, thank you for being with us today. I'm sure you've picked up a lot on how to grow your business, on how to delegate, really importantly, and get off that plateau, and different things we've talked about today. So, till next week, when we bring another episode of the Tech Your Business podcasts, put these things we've taught today into practice, and don't forget to keep taking your business. Bye for now.